welcome to my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. So I have really been enjoying trying out a number of like tinted foundation, sunscreen, CC cream-esque products. And I have found a number of them that I've liked and some of them I haven't liked quite as much. And I thought it could be helpful if I sat down, shared my thoughts, showed some demos. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about the Honest Beauty CC Cream, the Saie Slip Tint, Hour 28 Sunny Days, and the 14E Aloe Nourish Sheer Tint. I also am going to mention the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40. As I was preparing for this video and retesting out these products and kind of formulating my thoughts, I discovered that the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40 that I have has unfortunately expired. Though that's not actually that surprising because it's been about 2 years since the launch. But anyway, I will just be mentioning this product, but I won't be demoing it for that reason. But I've talked about it and demoed it many times on my channel, so I will link some of those videos above. Okay, so let's just roll straight into this. The first one I want to talk about is the Tower 28 Sunny Days. This is not at all surprising because I've talked about this quite a few times on my channel recently, and that's because I've very much been enjoying the product. Going to insert a demo right now of me applying it. And I have the shade Fairfax. And why I like this product so much is it is SPF 30, so it is a pretty high SPF. All of these are either zinc oxide based or titanium dioxide based sunscreens. They're all physical sunscreens, not chemical at all. I don't use chemical sunscreens for a lot of different reasons. Reef safety, skin sensitivity. This product came out very, very recently, but I have been super impressed by it. Why I like this product so much is, first off, good shade match for me. I am super fair, and sometimes finding a good shade, well, oftentimes finding a good shade match in kind of foundation-like products is not always the easiest. The shade Fairfax is really great for me. I find it to be pretty neutral, all things considered. But it provides a decent amount of coverage. You can obviously build up or shear out the coverage depending on how much product you apply. I would always recommend with any of these products to still use another sunscreen. There have been lots of conversations about how having sunscreen in your foundation often means you aren't actually getting the full SPF value because you aren't applying enough. So I would recommend to still keep using a sunscreen as part of your skincare routine. I love the Kinship sunscreen. That's one of my favorite ones, one I reach for very regularly. But what I like about this is good level of coverage that you can build up, and also it's not overly glowy or dewy. And I have oily skin, and a lot of sunscreens really lean in the direction of being very glowy, very dewy. And for that reason, I really like this product because especially if you have oily skin, this is going to be a lot more friendly of a product for you. Because I feel like there's so many glowy sunscreens. They're all catered towards being glowy and dewy. The one downside of this product that I've discovered recently is I have been getting a little bit of dry patches kind of around the lower part of my face. That's because it is getting into late fall, early winter. And, you know, even though I do have oily skin, I live in Boston, which is a cold climate. When the weather gets cold, the wind picks up and the indoor heating kicks on. It does tend to dry out my skin a little bit, and this does cling a little bit to dry patches. Not too bad, but that is kind of the downside with it not being a glowy and dewy product is it will cling to dry patches a little bit more. But overall, I really like it. I find that it looks really well, wears well throughout the day. It doesn't get overly dewy. It doesn't break apart. It just holds up super well. So spoiler alert, out of all of these, this is my favorite. I think it's just really great. The next one we're going to talk about is the Honest Beauty CC Cream. CCC Cream, sorry, there are 3 C's here. Clean Corrective with Vitamin C. This is their tinted moisturizer. This one is also SPF 30. And the first time I attempted to try this product, the shade range was super small and I bought the shade Fair and it was like orange. I was like, this is not fair. You know who also is guilty of that? Well people. I'm calling you out, well people. There's a reason why that well people, they're like basically a product like this is not included in this video. The lightest shade of the Well People foundation with sun protection is like 2 to 3 shades too dark for me. So never have tried it, never will be able to unless they expand the shade range. But thankfully, Honest Beauty did listen and expanded their shade range. I have the shade Tundra in it, which is now the lightest fair shade, and this one does actually work well on my skin. I should mention, I forgot to mention this. The Tower 28 is just zinc oxide, non-nano zinc oxide. And this one here from Honest Beauty is a mixture of titanium dioxide and zinc oxide sunscreen. And it is SPF 30, like the Tower 28. This one honestly reminds me a lot of the Tower 28. It gives you quite a bit of coverage. It's not overly glowy and dewy. It's definitely, to me, a little bit more glowy and dewy than the Tower 28, but I think it's really good. I think the shade of the Tower 28 is just a little bit better for me. This is the Tower 28 over here, and this is the Honest Beauty. You can see they're similar in like shade, but the undertones are a little bit different. I find that the Tower 28 is a little bit more neutral in undertone than the Honest Beauty, which for me works better on my skin tone. But I still can't get the Honest Beauty to work well. It's in a very reasonable shade range for me. Though I have to say, if I remember properly, the Honest Beauty CCC cream has even though they did expand their shade range, it still is smaller than the Tower 28. So I think if you're looking for a product like this, you're probably gonna have better luck finding your shade in the Tower 28. But if you've been curious about the Honest Beauty CCC cream, I really actually have been enjoying it since I got the Tower 28, and I just prefer the formula of that one a little bit better in terms of like the skin-like finish it gives. I have gravitated more towards that one, but I still do reach for it and use the CCC cream on a regular basis. I really have been enjoying products like this. Both of these are really great examples of ones you can build up, sheer out, and just aren't like a glowy, dewy, oil slick kind of look. Speaking of very glowy, dewy, so I'm gonna throw in this one next. We're gonna just chat about this one briefly. This is the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40. This one is SPF 40, so it's got the highest SPF out of any of these, and it's purely zinc oxide based. And here's the thing, I like this product a lot. However, the reason it's expired, and I didn't even realize it, is I cannot use this product during the summer. Like, it is just too dewy, too glowy, like on my oily skin. It's just an oil slick. Whereas I feel like the Honest Beauty and the Tower 28 are definitely will be products I can use all year round. This, it's tough to have. I do have foundations like this where there are ones that I can really only use in the winter, but I don't love that about this product. It does have a higher level of coverage, so I feel like the Honest Beauty and the Tower 28, you can really build up a decent coverage level. I know a lot of people really, really like this foundation. I think if you have more normal to dry skin, you could probably use it all year round. But for me, this is like an only like fall and winter product. And I don't know, I always want something with extra SPF during the summer. So, because I'm spending more time outside, obviously I'm using sun protection, SPF all year round, but when I really, really want a lot of sun protection, it's during the summer. So that's a bit disappointing. So overall, I think if you're looking for your product with a fair amount of coverage, high level of SPF that's very glowy and dewy, I'd recommend this. But if you have at all oily skin, I would probably advise against this in the long run, because I just don't reach for it because of how glowy it is. Speaking of glowy products, I finally got up my nerve to try the Saie Beauty Slip Tint. I have the shade 1. This is a very glowy, very dewy product. And I knew that about it when going into it. So to be fair, one of the main reasons I purchased it is because we are going into fall and winter. And I'm like, if I could ever use a product like this, it'll be during fall and winter. So this one is SPF 35. So I guess after the Ilia, this is like the second highest SPF. This one uses purely zinc oxide as the sun protection ingredient. Saie Beauty originally had a pretty small shade range of this product, but they did expand it some. They do have just like a purely sunscreen. This is just their tinted sunscreen. I honestly am not the biggest fan of the shade. I feel like the shade 1, if I am not blending very carefully and kind of getting it down my neck, I can end up looking a little bit of an orange line. Even though shade 1 is the lightest shade in the line, I still could have gone for something a little bit lighter, a little bit more neutral in undertone. Like, it's heading a little orange for me, which is not great. And part of me wonders too, I have a theory that maybe they weren't able to go any lighter with the shade because they lose coverage. I don't know. Anyway, this product here is just not my favorite. for several reasons. Shade is not quite right. It's very glowy, very dewy. Also, the coverage level is very, very low. I would treat this product like it reminds me of the Kinship, you know, because the Kinship doesn't really provide any coverage. Like there's a little bit of tint in it, but it really is just to help the product kind of blend out and not white cast you. That's kind of how I view this product. It really is not providing a lot of coverage on its own. It's on the very light side. It's more like a sunscreen than a foundation. And I like the Kinship better. I feel like at the end of the day, it's just not a product that was made for me. I could see where someone could like this if A, they're able to find a shade that works for them, B, they want something that's more glowy, more dewy, and C, they want something super light coverage. But if you don't really fit into any of those categories, then I would probably recommend the Tower 28 or the Honest over this one. And also, I like the Ilia over this one, in that it gives more coverage, has a higher level of SPF, and has a much bigger shade range. And then the final one we're going to talk about is this one here. This is from 14E. This is their Aloe Nourish Sheer Tint. And this one is kind of like thrown in as kind of a last, the final one here. So there's another product from 14E that's a foundation that has a higher level of coverage and a higher level of SPF. This one only has SPF 10. So if you are using this, you definitely need to use a sunscreen underneath this. But the sun protecting ingredient is just zinc oxide. So this one, to me, it reminds me very much of the Saie Beauty, and that it doesn't give a lot of coverage. It's very sheer. It's got sheer in the name. It's very sheer. It also doesn't have a lot of sun protection. So for me, this product is kind of a miss in that regard because it doesn't really fit in anywhere. Like I wouldn't treat this as just a regular foundation because it doesn't give that much coverage, but I also can't use it like just as a sunscreen because it doesn't have that much SPF in it. It's kind of like sitting out there on its own. It's a nice product. It's just, it would have been nicer if it had a little bit more coverage, a little bit more SPF. I know you could say you could then try the foundation. I might do that at some point, but for me, this one is just not my favorite. And I also should mention I have the shade Seashell in this, which is a good shade match for me. Although it is worth noting that there's not a lot of coverage, so the shade, it's easier to get a good shade match with this. So I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know if you've been enjoying kind of tinted foundation products as well. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to my channel and click the bell button so you're notified of when I post new videos. And come follow me on Instagram. I'm at naturallybeautifulgirlkat there. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.